What's up guys, it's Stanky here, and I'm doing another mid matchup from the International. I'm doing Weeha versus Maybe on TA, and Weeha's on Invoker. So this is another classic sort of mid matchup. Maybe actually had Banana block the wave for him a little bit, and Weeha managed to do it himself. And even in that short space, he managed to block the range creep out in front, which is one of the advantages of taking the top rune, is it's a closer run. And this wave, this matchup is all about the Sideblades basically. So maybe he's gone Wraithband versus Sideblades first, which if you watch Waga's video, which I'd recommend doing if you play a lot of TA, he does a video on, I think he does one on this matchup specifically, and he talks a lot about this sort of Wraithband Sideblades first, and you're really just trying to harass him as much as you can with Sideblades. I know I said I was trying to find matchups where there wasn't much like other hero harassment going on, but this is literally all that happens is Banana runs in, hits that creep once, and then he's gone. So it's alright, it's it's not really a contested lane, but blocking that range creep first has made this wave push in here for Weeha, which is what he wants. He wants to be farming on his side of the map underneath the tower and being able to control the creep wave. So here he's moving over to the right hand side so that he's out of range of splash damage, and just makes it sort of awkward for Maybe. He'd have to go right around here to try to hit him. But yeah, this whole lane is just a jostle of Invoker trying to avoid the splash damage of Sideblades, because it can do a lot. So even the denies here, you got to try to line the denies up with doing damage as well with Sideblades. Weeha's pulled the creeps back towards him underneath the tower, so he's actually got like less to do. He can only deny the creeps, and there's one range creep here, but he can't just sort of get free attacks off on him through the melee creeps, because you can only obviously attack the enemy, your own melee creeps, when they're at below half health. So by pulling Maybe's creeps towards himself, Weeha's made it a bit easier on him. But still, even saying that, he's lost half his HP in this early laning phase. So speed it up here again a bit. Again, sorry to all the slow-mo haters, but that's how I do it. Get used to it. Dota happens very quick. You got to pay attention to the small things. So Weeha's actually gone back and blocked the lane here, which is really important. He's trying to keep the creep wave right here. So this is the classic sort of exactly where you want it. So he lets it go here. He doesn't keep blocking, one, because he doesn't want to take damage, but two, because he wants them to run below this cliff. So now if we watch it from Maybe's perspective, he can't see up the hill. Once the... Oh, I've got the fog on wrong. There. I don't know why I didn't update even though it's player perspective, but yeah. The creeps come down to the bottom hill. If they are up here and his melee creeps are up on top, then he gets free vision of Weeha. So here he has to try to... He actually hit him there with Sideblades just by luck, but he hit him again by luck. But obviously Weeha's getting a bit tilted at this point. He runs over here, but he saw where the projectile came from, and he actually comes down underneath the cliff here for some reason. And he gets hit again, so that was a mistake, I believe, on his half. And then he sort of knew that he was running this way, so he went for another attack here. So this is just... really impressive play from Maybe, and he's got Weeha pretty low here, and he sees where the attack came from, and he thought he might be running back. It's just, you can see the projectiles, so you've got to keep that in mind when you're playing Invoker, even from the high ground, is that they can see where your projectiles are coming from, and you should sort of move afterwards accordingly. So he's already had to pop his salve here, because he's taken so much harass from Maybe. And he's last hitting under his tower. He goes for he pops his Q right before he goes for that deny, both to try to ensure the deny last hit, but also when he gets the splash damage, it does bonus damage to Wee. So here he couldn't line it up, but he just took the last hit. Again, jostling, trying to line it up, jostling, trying to line it up. Weeha's actually popped a Forge Spirit here to try to like break his refraction charges, so that it's a bit easier for him to harass him, and also the Forge Spirit helps you last hit as well. Sort of counteracts for the bad base damage on Invoker. Like in a low level matchup, if you're playing TA, you should get every last hit basically, because you've got that extra bonus damage from refraction. Level 1 you get 20 bonus, level 2 it's 40, which is why it's important to go to the second level of refraction at level 3. But yeah, so rushing the shit out of him here, and he actually almost gets a kill, and I think he probably could have got it with a little bit of either better play by Maybe or worse play by Weeha, but they both play it quite well. see that coming up here in a second. Now runes aren't that important for Invoker, so because he doesn't go bottle. This fog of war shit is pissing me off. But yeah, it just continues to be a jostle here between the creeps. It's all the Titan that sits here but doesn't actually end up doing anything. Maybe kind of pushes the wave in by accident is the way TI6 often. You'll just do splash damage to the range creep, or you'll do splash damage to multiple melee creeps at once, and the wave just ends up pushing. But he has to also kind of accept the fact that we are once the wave pushed, and it's hard for him to last it under tower. So sometimes pushing the wave isn't the end of the world for him, because it can make Weeha's last hitting suffer. Here I think he's a bit scared of a gank. The Bat Rat is missing. He's just kind of hanging back. He actually throws out a scan here in a second, I think. Not sure if you see it, yeah. But shows up with nothing, so he goes back to farm, I think. Or at least when they get vision of the Bat Rider, he goes back to the lane. But what he does here is... sorry, the same thing we had before. Goes back and blocks the wave as much as he can to try to reset this equilibrium a little bit. Misses out on a deny, maybe a last hit, but the lane equilibrium is very important. So 4-minute runes coming up. He's pushing the wave out here so that he can go for it. You always got to keep rune timings in mind. Goes for the harass damage on these denies. These are super important, and they're very easy to get to because the creeps will be running at your opponent to do direct damage to them. So all you have to do is sit behind it, and they do the job for you. You just throw the deny at the creep, and it's going to run straight at the Invoker and get you basically free harass damage off here. And Weeha tries to go for a double attack here on the wagon to deny it, but maybe sees it and gets the last hit with the side blades. So I think at the 4-minute rune is where he picks up the DD, so he pushes the wave out, goes for this bottom room which has been secured by the Elder Titan, and then he uses this to almost get a kill on Weeha. So he bottles up, throws it in there. I don't think Weeha actually clicks on him. I can watch from now if you watch this from his perspective, which is a huge mistake. It's not something that you'd sort of always do in lower level pub games, but in pro games you should sort of expect that it's done, right? So what he just hasn't clicked on him so far, still hasn't clicked on him. I guess he's just assuming it's a bounty rune. Actually I think, no, Sasuke saw the top rune was, or whoever's playing Shadow Demon, so he should have known that it was the real rune. What maybe he does here is he just pushes the wave out again, and then he goes back to block. So the enemy, his creep wave dies to the tower, and forcing Weeha to miss some last hits, and he goes back and blocks this, and he sets up for his kill. So he's dropped a side trap here. Uphill vision is important. Having it on the top of the cliff gives you vision in a small area, but it's relevant. And he also placed it out of Weeha's vision of it, so if you go to Weeha's perspective, he can't actually see that radiant vision. You can't see here from this tower. It only goes up to here. So if you place it right here, he doesn't even see it pop if he's not in the area. So we'll go to Maybe's perspective for this. God, this fog. Whew. It's tilting. So he doesn't pop his DD or his refraction. He waits for this to turn up, his Blightstone. He draws him in a little bit here, brings him forward in the lane. And then he walks up, and I think he gets one attack off. He pops his refraction. And he doesn't pop his DD until after the first attack, which is a little odd. But he's hoping he can sort of get some free harass off. I mean, if he popped that DD beforehand, it would have been a different story. But anyway, let's go watch it again, because I missed an important point. He refractions, doesn't pop the DD, but he gets a last hit off here on splash damage, and then he hits the slow. And then here he goes for the splash, he hits it, and then he misses this one, which is crucial. He lines it, he's too far this way. If he maybe just ran at him and hit him, he could have got the kill with this second trap, but the worry is that you don't know what he has invoked. He doesn't actually have Cold Snap invoked, he had Sunstrike and Forge Spirit, so he could have invoked Cold Snap, and then Cold Snap trapped him under the tower, and then you potentially die. If you're tanking a bunch of creeps, your refraction charges can burn down very quickly, and you can get tower, like Cold Snap locked by the creeps all attacking you and the Forge Spirit and the tower. So you got to be a little bit careful. Ideally, you can do this just double hit here. And we have summons his Forge Spirit to I guess try to help with this idea of doing the cold snap break and popping refraction charges, but he decides to invoke Ice Wall and then tries to turn to place it on this angle, but he messes it up as well. Sorry to keep rewinding, but this is one of the sort of last points I'm going to talk about in this video. But another little tip, what he does here is he's got Quas invoked 3 times, and when he goes to invoke Ice Wall, all he actually has to do is push E, but what he does is Q, 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 E. So it's a lot quicker if you just hit E and then R. And then if you saw, he clicked here and then tried to cast the Ice Wall and turn back, but his turn rate's quite slow and he didn't get it off. And then the last little thing is that he actually turned his Forge Spirit, which saved his life. So if you watch this Forge Spirit here, he's using the Forge Spirit to do splash damage now. So he gets that one off and then he runs down, but he grabs the Forge Spirit and runs it out of the way so that that last one misses. And he probably would have died to that. Also, as soon as he started getting attacked, he was on 3 Exalts and he went straight away to Quas and popped his Fairy Fire. So being on Quas gives you that extra 10 health regen per second. If it's a 5-second gank, that's another 50 health. So it's relevant as well. So it's I guess a couple of mistakes by both, but also good play in other parts. But ends up with a stalemate, but we asked to TB back to heal up, so that's a huge victory for maybe at the end of the day, even though he didn't get the kill. But there starts to be ganks and interference from other lanes now, so we'll leave it at that. But pretty much you mostly on both of these heroes just want to be continuing to do the same thing, trying to bully them out of lane. You want to be getting traps down with the TA and try to kill the Invoker. Invoker, you really want to just be sort of surviving and getting last hits under your tower and maybe falling back and farming these camps when you can. And TA, you want to be pushing out your wave and running over here and stacking the Ancients. But anyway, I thought that was a cool little laning phase. We'll do some more of these. Hope you guys enjoyed. Cheers.